episode. Welcome back. We have a special guest. I always talk a lot about community over competition, collaboration, really uplifting one another. And this person, our special guest this month, she was a beautiful example. Like she did it naturally. Okay. And I wanted to showcase her because I think sometimes we think like what happens if we uplift or help somebody else in our same realm or in the same type of business that we have. And really to start stepping out of the box, especially for me growing up, I'm Latina. So there was that whole mentality like each woman on its own, like there's not enough for everybody. You have to take care of what's yours and do not share it. And so growing up with that mentality, I am totally opposite of that. And it has been really hard for me, even for us myself, to be able to step out of that realm. And so that's why when Holly did what she did in two different instances, I wanted to share her on the podcast. I think it's such a beautiful example of what can happen, not just for each other's business when you uplift somebody else, but also the opportunities that it can bring for you. And that's how she was able to get on my podcast today. So please help me in welcoming Holly. And let me introduce you a little bit for Holly, and then she can go ahead and introduce herself and give us a little more details about her and her business. So she was born and raised in Sonoma County. She lives in Sebastopol, which is like a town really close to where I live. She has her husband and two kids. And she has a degree in interior design from FIDM. Yes, I'm reading my notes from my phone. She loves coffee, live music, and reality TV. And she owns a retro photo. And Holly, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I felt so honored when you asked me to be on here, and I'm just super excited to just be talking to you in general. It's always great to see you.
See you, and thank you for making time out of your busy
Yeah.
schedule to be on here. I really appreciate it. So talk to us about how did you end up with the business that you have today? And
Yeah.
what your journey has been like also as a mother and a business owner. So with that,
Yeah. So it kind of happened very quickly. So I own Retro Photo Company. The main part of that business is a restored Volkswagen bus that has been turned into a photo booth. So I like to bring that to weddings, events. We do a lot of styled photo shoots. It's been a really, really fun. We just expanded. So now we have an audio guest book. We have an open air photo booth. So we're kind of trying to, get into a few other little spaces. A bus doesn't fit everywhere. And we're actually coming up on our 1-year anniversary. I bought the bus at the end of March of 2022. I'm like, what year are we in? Okay. Yeah, about a year ago. So
amazing.
it's been a real whirlwind. It was kind of just an opportunity that presented itself. I saw it for sale. It was just the right thing at the right time. I've been a stay-at-home mom since my son was born. He just turned 4. So I was really looking for something that I could do that was flexible, that was creative, that just kind of was a little something different than going back to a desk job, an office job. And so when I saw the bus for sale, I kind of jumped on it. I got married almost 6 years ago, and we actually hired a very similar company out of Santa Cruz to do with a Volkswagen bus. They came to our wedding, so it's kind of special to me. I know what an impact it can make on your wedding. I know how special it can be. So when I saw it, I was like, I could do this. This is my thing. I think I can do this. And bought it, jumped in, and it's just been a whirlwind ever since. We're just doing weddings, we're meeting people, we're doing all kinds of different events, and it's just been best case scenario. It's been a really good time.
And how has that been? So with the balance with like starting a new business, I did not know you just started it last year.
Yeah. So it's been 1 year. So yeah, balancing it with being a mom. I was kind of at the point, my kids right now are 2.5 and 4. So it's kind of an interesting age where they're both in preschool, but not full time. So I'm still with them most of the time. But since they are not in school 5 days a week, I do have that flexibility on the weekends for events. So, once they get a little bit older, I know weekends kind of become a little bit more sacred. It kind of becomes a little more challenging to have that time away from them. But right now, because of how old they are and their schedules, it's really nice for me to be able to I can take a whole Saturday for a wedding and I still get to see them all the time through the week. So it's definitely really cool right now. As they get a little bit older, we'll have to kind of reevaluate um employees and timing and kind of restructure how we do our scheduling. But right now it works great. And luckily my husband has a very he has kind of a unique schedule as well, so we're able to balance it with our family, and it works great. We kind of just fit everything in when we can.
I love that though, that you'll be able to pivot as like your family needs it. And that's
Yeah,
part I think of like being a business owner, right? You can make it your own. And
exactly.
and I did want to share. So I want to share how we came together, right? Because many of you,
Yeah,
I'm a hairstylist. You guys don't know I'm an educator. You're like, so how did you two end up together? And how is this the whole community over competition episode? So let's go into that.
yes.
So I have a mobile, I have a mobile salon. So it gets also utilized for events and like different photo shoots and for elopements and different type of things, right? And do you want to tell the story of how we ended up the first time working together? Because it wasn't, I was very shocked
Right.
by it, and it was a very interesting scenario. So you want to go ahead and share a story about that?
Yeah. Well, I know a while back I had when I was following you on Instagram, and then I saw that your mobile salon, you were also utilizing it as a photo booth. And so I think at some point I had gotten an inquiry that I was just unavailable. And so I had sent them a few different recommendations of like other photo booths in the area.
Yeah.
And so you were one of them. I was like, oh, this is like a unique, if they're looking at our bus, maybe they want something else that's kind of a unique setup. So I had sent them your information, and I remember you had sent me a voice message to say thank you. That was just so sweet. And so you were always on my mind of like, yeah, if I can't do something, like I'm going to recommend you and a few other local companies. And then I was set to do there's a really cool event with the She Can Club that was doing this really big like You Glow Girl, like girls night out. And I was going to be uh participating in that event, and I was super excited about it. And it was like the day of, and again, I have toddlers, and we had an exposure, and it was just kind of a real chaotic thing that I unexpectedly could not make it. I had to take care of my kids, and I was scrambling because I had committed to this event. I was so excited about it. I didn't want to leave them high and dry. I didn't know what to do. And so I had reached out to you, Celeste, and I was like, oh, maybe she would be interested in participating and kind of taking my spot. And I had reached out to you, and like, I think within like 15 minutes, you were like, yeah, like, let me see if I can make it work. And like, I'm going with the host, and we're all kind of talking and stuff. And it totally ended up working out. And I was so bummed to miss it, but I was so excited that you got to take that spot and get that exposure and, have a blast with that event. Um,
And I want to share a little behind the scenes about this because you see how Holly just told you I was excited. I was like, yes. So let me tell you the real story behind all this.
yes, tell me.
Yes, because I think sometimes we think, okay, it's so easy for that business owner. Let me tell you what really
Mhm.
happened. So I I fell like probably 6 days prior to you asking me to do this. I was in
Oh.
over 7 different medications. I missed one of
Oh
my
my gosh.
real good friends' wedding because I couldn't walk. I had to reschedule my day that weekend prior to, like Holly asking me to do this. Okay. So I'm on medication, I'm on pain meds, I'm like putting on like a patch on my back. I've never shared
Mhm.
this on social, okay? This is really what happened. And
Oh my gosh.
and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "I wanna help her. This seems like a lot of fun," right? Because it was like a woman event, it was outdoors, it was at night, and it was like really cool thing, really about empowering, and I was like, "That sounds like fun." I'm like, "But can I do this?" Right? And I have my kids. I'm like, "I'm not sure if I can
Mhm.
make this happen." I said yes. Something in my gut told me to just say yes. And this is the part where I want to tell you that you need to be okay in business when opportunities arise to say, okay, I'm going to try this and I'm going to do it and see what happens. I was not at
Yeah.
my best. I was still in a lot of pain, but I showed up. I didn't know the host, I didn't know anybody. I showed up. I was able to say hi. I met another like photo booth company that was more like
Mhm.
freestyle. They have a little turning around one. I met another mobile business. They do only nails. So it was really fun. I was able to go outside of my comfort zone, kind of have people inside of there give me input and like kind of be able to hear what people were saying. So it was just a really nice opportunity that like Holly wasn't able to do it, right? And she's like, okay, I'm gonna reach out instead of saying like, well, sorry, like I have nothing for you. You were like, okay, you know what? Let me see if she wants to do it. Let me see if I can help her out. And then also on
Mhm.
the hindsight, on the other side of it, it was me and my family being able to make it happen because literally my husband
Totally.
had to help me to get all this stuff done because my back was just killing me that day.
Right. And it just goes to show like you never know what's happening behind the scenes. And it's like, we make things work, and it's especially as, business owners, and it's like it's your business, your thing. And sometimes you got to say no, but sometimes you got to say yes, and you got to figure out how to make it work. And I'm so glad that you did, because I feel like I feel like I've seen so many things come out of that for you, the connections that you made. And then I feel like now we have a connection, and then our next little thing that we got to work on together was we just did a styled shoot that I invited you to. And I mean, that was so fun too, because it's like there is space for everyone. And like it's so nice because there's just you everyone has their own thing going on and has their own um like little special brand of magic. It's like you couldn't the person who's going to be booking one person maybe isn't booking the other person. So it's like there's no reason why we can't all connect and figure out what is, so special about each other, so that we can, all meet up with our own ideal clients, and then just kind of have some fun in the meantime. Like there's no reason why we can't all, network and be friends. We're all like small business owners that don't really have coworkers. So it's kind of like we're all each other's coworkers. So it's kind of like we got to make it fun. We got to, get together and connect when we can.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And even like the style shoot, that's the other thing. Like, so I went to this event. It was a networking event for small businesses here in Sonoma County. I got invited to speak. And because I have a relationship, with the owner of the venue. Like she's been on the podcast as well. She's an amazing business owner. And when I went there, I talked and gave like a little, like information and also like just knowledge and kind of help uplift everybody as business owners for this upcoming year, 2023. And I remember you asked me, hey, I'm going to have a style shoot. Do you want to be the hairstylist? I already have a makeup artist, but do you want to be the hairstylist? I was like, okay. And then you asked me also like behind the scenes, you're like, hey, so can she be inside of there to do the makeup? And I remember the day of, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the style shoot. I want to do something different with the hair. It's probably not something that people would wear, but I want it to be fun to go with the outfits and the atmosphere, right? And we had to be there. Lisa Tello, so she does makeup. And she asked me,
Mhm.
can I be in there? Of course, and it's just like this whole event about community and uplifting one another. It's not like it's all about
Uh-huh.
me or all about you. It's like, how can we all come together with our own magic and create,
Yes.
which I love.
And that was my whole goal. So we that styled shoot that we're talking about was what it was like 2 weeks ago or so now. Not that long ago. And it was the first one I had ever planned 100% on my own. And I kind of just had a vision and I was like, I think this would be really cool. I think I haven't really seen anything like this. I bet people would be interested. And it was just a total collaborative, um, afternoon. It was just like, I wanted everyone to get the content that they wanted. I know, photographers can pay to be part of these styled shoots, which are also incredible and have their own value. But I wanted to make something that was like, you don't have to pay to do this. Like, I just want everyone to come in, like, do their thing, and everyone get like the most out of it. And I feel like it was such a success because, well, first of all, the photos turned out incredible. We had two photographers there, Tiffany and Brooke, and they were both of their galleries are insane. And it was just everyone got to kind of do their own thing. I wanted to give everyone enough like room to yeah, exactly, make their own magic and kind of like have the space to kind of create something that they wouldn't normally have the space to create. So that's why it was so neat to have you there as well, because not only are you a hairstylist, but also with the mobile salon that also is a photo booth. It's like, yeah, there's space for both of us. Let's do it. Like, let's have them both there. There's room for everyone. And and it just worked out so good. And I mean, I think the results kind of it's the proof in the pudding. It's like everything turned out great. So the more the merrier.
Yeah, and I love that. And that's why I invited you to be on the podcast. So see, this is like the aftermath of all the magic and the things that have been happening with us just interacting.
Mhm.
This is what I talk about when I really mean like collaboration over competition and truly uplifting one another.
Mhm.
Like I feel like for you, like I didn't feel like there was an agenda for you. I felt like you were really truly genuine and like I want all of you to get what you guys need out of this.
Mhm.
And that's where the beauty and the stuff comes up afterwards with the rewards. Sometimes we think it's gonna be like automatic or the first time
Yeah.
and just making a connection. Like I always tell, and I know people always laugh because they're like, there's no way it's that simple. I'm like, yeah, use social to be social and make connections. Like
Mhm.
I truly like I send you a voice message. I was just interacting with you. I had like no agenda. I had no idea none of this was gonna happen.
Exactly. And it's so funny is like, so there's like a book that I read to my daughter that she loves. That's the Dear Girl book. And there's like a page in it that says like, dear girl, like you're not going to be invited to every party in the world. And like, can you imagine like and even if you were like, you couldn't like, that would, I forget, what does it say? You couldn't, can you imagine like how busy you would be or something like that, or like you wouldn't want to go to every party in the world if you were invited to every party in the world. And I kind of see the same thing with these businesses of like we're in Sonoma County, we're in wine country, we're in a wedding destination, we're in an event destination where um you couldn't possibly do everything even if you wanted to. So you have to have, if you want to be good at what you do, it's like you have to also be able to pass things on to other people who are at the same caliber you are. It's like I can't do something because I'm double booked. Well, I'm going to share the name of somebody else who I think is also super awesome, and I want them to have that, that opportunity. And be able to kind of like share in that with them. But then also, like you said, just be social. And sometimes being a business owner is really isolating, and you're doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and it is you're just kind of trudging along, doing your thing, and you're like, wow, I haven't talked to somebody in a few hours because I've just been typing, or I've just been whatever, until you actually get to your event, and then it's overstimulating because then you talk to a million people. But it's nice to have these people who, even if it's just like liking their post and commenting and chatting through messages and inviting them to things, and it's that sense of community that it's real. It's really nice to have, and it is genuine, and it's I mean, I almost kind of hate the word networking because I feel like that feels like there's an agenda there. Like you're like, oh, I'm networking to because I want to get something from someone, or I want to like rise the ladder or something like that. But it's better than that. It's better than networking. It's just community building.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, like, even for me, honestly, like, I've gone through, like, networking events and things, like, I am more intuitive, and that's why I wanted to share today that it's okay if you're intuitive. Like, I am very intuitive. I say no to many things, and it's not because,
Yeah,
um it has to do a lot with my intuition, to be honest with you. I know things that feel good, and I have to say yes, and I'm okay with also saying no because there's something that's not aligned with me, and I think you have to be okay with that as well.
absolutely. And I think that was going back to like how this is, closing out my first full year in business. Last year was my like year of yes. And I was trying to say yes to everything. And it has helped me tremendously in building connections and doing stuff. And now that I've kind of established myself enough, now I am able to be a little more discerning and say no to things. And it's really fun to kind of be in that position where I feel like um I really get to be in charge of things and kind of dictate like now where the business goes and who I, interact with in the collaborations that we do. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good year.
Yeah, and I love that. Like, you have done so much growth, and I love how you say that, and you're so transparent that you had to say yes. You tried to say yes to everything last year as you were building because it's your first year. And if you don't know Holly, like, she has been doing amazing. She is on fuego, on fire, on fire, on fire.
Thank you.
But it's true. You're gonna have to say yes. I've said it even in the beginning of my career. People ask me, like, I was on stages, I was traveling, I was working with brands. It took a lot of
Mhm.
free yes, sacrifice of time, sacrifice of money, travel away from my family to get to that point. And I feel like
Yes.
as business owners, a lot of people are not transparent about that. And sometimes we just think, oh, it's so easy for them. They started a business and she blew up. So how was
Mm-mm.
your true journey the first year in business? Because that's beautiful. I mean, I'm 6 years in, so it's
Yeah.
different.
No, it's yeah, like I said, yes, like my last year was my year of yes. And it was like, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna invest, I mean, it was a very big investment financially and in terms of time. Um, and it was like, if I'm gonna do this, I need to make a decision to go all in and I need to do everything I can to like set myself up for success in the future. So my goal was put myself out there. I'm sending emails. I am any opportunity that comes my way, I'm saying yes. I was offering discounts when it wasn't quite in people's budgets and I was being way more flexible. Now, starting this year, I raised my prices. I am not doing things like that. I am if if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's fine. But it also gives me the flexibility to say no. My kids are getting a little bit older now, so now we're entering the sports era. So it's like, well, we have t-ball that day, so now I can say no. Or we're bringing on like our first employee, so it's now I'm able to kind of you know have somebody else do some of the events and take that pressure off of me where I can spend that time with my family. And it's just kind of I think we're entering a new era of the business and I'm super excited about that. Um, and yeah, it's been really interesting kind of having that balance between um, you know, building the business, but like also having my family grow in kind of like watching those things kind of go together. It's been fun.
I love
So we'll see how this next year takes us.
that you're sharing that. So you got your first employee, and I love that you're saying, like, your family dynamic is shifting, so you're shifting your business with that. And I wanted to talk a
Totally.
little bit more about that because I know a lot of people don't know this. Some do, some don't. But last year, the past 2 years, I think ever since 2020, to be honest, after my daughter fell and I had that whole incident with her, I
Right.
really had to take a step back and put my business and career number two. and put my
Yeah.
family number one. And it was, I'm gonna be honest and transparent, it was really fucking hard because,
Yes. Yes.
like you work so much for it. I've put a lot of money in education, time away from my family. I've sacrificed so much. And I was like, oh my gosh, now it's number two, and I
Well,
felt,
it's its own baby, it's your own baby, and it's an extension of you. It's an extension of your family.
yeah, and it was really tough. And then really last year, then I got hit even more, and I had to really go like business is second. My family super needs me first.
Mhm.
Have a child with special needs, so she needs to go to an appointment twice a week. So I can't work like every other hairstylist like full time. I can't have
Right.
just like everybody else, and I felt broken. I felt weird. I felt like, oh, maybe I wasn't enough. Um,
Mhm.
to be call myself a business owner. I didn't know if my business
Right.
was gonna survive, like I didn't know what the hell's gonna happen. And
Right.
out of that, and I want you to share your take in this too. Out of that, my business grew, not just like services wise, but also like online and opportunity wise, working with Pinterest and all these other beautiful things that happen behind the scenes. It grew so much when
Mhm.
I decided to put my happiness and my family first, because
Mhm.
they matter to me, and that's what makes me happy. I realized that success wasn't just what the whole world and all the coaches and Instagram and Facebook is saying that success is. I truly
Yes.
had my own definition of what success is, and I was able to grow from it. But I truly thought I was gonna like fall on my ass and like everything was gonna break apart. So talk to me about your experience.
Totally. Oh my god, I could not agree more. Yes. Yeah, finding your own definition of success, I feel like is absolutely paramount. Like that is what it is. It's, if it's money, then it's money and that's fine. And but for me, having that whole year of yes, now I'm in a position where I was able to make certain sacrifices like last year because of my husband's schedule and my family. And we have a lot of like family support so that with our kids. And but now that we're a year in, and I get to prioritize them. Like that is now my goal. Like success to me is flexibility. It is the ability to say yes to what I want and say no to what I want, and not feel like um I have to have everything that comes my way. I get to, take my daughter to ballet on Saturdays, and I get to do, T-ball on Sundays, and I get to do all these things and work them into my schedule and still have a really successful, fun, fulfilling business that like I created. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. And it's it's definitely not easy. It definitely takes like, planning, and it takes support. And like I said, I feel like the only reason I'm able to kind of enter into 2023 with that mindset is because I had that full year of yes, 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 yes,
Mhm.
say yes to everything, sacrifice, sacrifice. And now I'm in a position where I raised my prices. I'm saying no. I'm able to delegate a lot more. And now I'm kind of seeing the results of that, of having that flexibility. And that's all I want in terms of like being a business owner. That's why I never didn't want to go back to an office job or a desk job, like a 9 to 5 situation. I wanted the flexibility so that I could, um, take my kids to school and pick them up and do things with them, and have the income that I did before, uh, but also get to be creative. And that's like a really important thing to me as well, is having the um something that I get to kind of have fun with, and like do those styled shoots, and kind of doing like photographer pop-ups that are super creative and like fun, um that you wouldn't get to do if you didn't have this kind of unique business.
Yeah, and I think, and that's so beautiful and it's so important. And I love that you learned that like right away in your first year. For me, it has been
Mhm.
a process, but I think it's like you say, it takes a lot of yes, and it takes a lot of sacrifice and work. Like even with doing
Mhm.
video, like I'm 6 years in, and to this day, I post things that I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna work or not. This seems fun.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it. Like, who cares? It's not perfect. Or I see that's wrong. The lighting's wrong here, but I don't overthink it. I just push it out there, and that's how you grow.
That's like the one thing. So I have what my best friend had a really successful uh, kind of Etsy shop and business for a while that she recently shut down. And she gave me some really good advice when I was like kind of starting out. And she's just like, just, she's like, done is like better than perfect. Just do it. Like, even if it's not like, if it's not perfect, just, it's never going to be done. So just put out the post, put up the website, put out the whatever, just do it. Just do it. And that's the only way you can learn, because, I feel like we all get paralyzed at the idea of perfection and wanting to just like, I want it a certain way, and I want it to be a perfect aesthetic, and I want this. And that's great. I think those are really, really cool things to like strive for in your business. But at the end of the day, like you gotta just keep going. You just gotta keep doing it and keep learning and keep like putting stuff out there. And you can look back and be like, oh gosh, why did I do it that way? And kind of, ooh. But that's the only way you can learn, is to do it, is to just do it and be like, oh, I know I'm not going to do that again.
Exactly.
And it's hard, because I feel like in the moment you're like, oh my gosh, everyone's judging me, everyone's going to think it's so stupid, and at the end of the day, like, you're your own biggest critic. And as long as you're just going to keep on keeping on, like, that's really all that matters.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like, it's just so much better. Like, that's how I've learned everything: lighting, photograph, everything. Like, even speaking, doing videos. It has been through trial and error and lots of fucking errors. So, the
Yeah.
reality of it. Because if I wouldn't have put anything out, I'm my worst critic. Like, I still don't think I've done anything that I'm like, this is perfect. I'm always like, that's wrong,
Mhm.
that's wrong, that's wrong. I need to fix it. But instead of
Mhm.
paralyzing myself, I'm like, this is gonna help one person. Just think about that one person and be like, okay, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What's next for you?
What's that?
What's next for
It
you?
cut out.
What do you think is
Oh
next?
gosh, what's next? I don't know. I think I'm just excited to enjoy this year, kind of now knowing what I'm doing and feeling really like confident and comfortable in the business, and having my employee kind of come in and kind of help a little bit,
Mhm.
doing some events, freeing up some of my time. Um, yeah, just kind of spending some more time with my kids. They're starting to get to like a really fun age. So I'm excited to kind of get to you know, spend some more time with them, and maybe get a little bit of traveling in. I mean, it's hard, wedding season, it's like travel season too. So I'm excited to kind of, have someone to kind of cover stuff, so that, maybe we can even get some traveling on the books this summer with my family.
I love that. Yeah. For me, this year is like it's a year of unknown, so I'm just like going with the flow
Yes,
here.
yeah.
So, which is something new for me because I'm a big planner, but
Hmm.
go with the
Good for you.
see where I end up. I have no clue where I'll end up. But I'll end up somewhere.
That's good, because that just means you're gonna end up somewhere really cool.
Yeah. You have to
You don't even know.
you don't know, and you have to be okay that you don't know. Just kind of just
Yeah.
doing your thing. And what would
Yeah.
be like, as we end this episode, and I really appreciate you being so open and sharing with us like just your whole experience this past year as a new business owner. You're doing amazing. And even for the style shoots, I know hairstylists now are like, well, I want to do a style shoot too, so I can see that thing
Yeah.
trend going. So you have
Yeah.
really established something new, which is really awesome and fun for other creatives. What would be like your
Aw.
biggest piece of advice for other moms or women entrepreneurs that want to start something new? Because
Mhm.
you did something new. Like that was something new around here, and you really went
Yeah.
full force. And I just loved how you developed your business. I had no idea it was your first year.
Yeah, I would say the only advice that I have is like, just start. Just however small or big, like, if it feels right, like that's the biggest thing. It's just like you were saying, feeling really like having that like intuition about stuff. That's exactly how I felt when I saw the bus for sale, and kind of shared it with my husband, and we talked about it, and thankfully he's very supportive and trusts my judgment, because he's just like, yeah, if that's what you want to do. But I would say, like, if you have that gut feeling, just trust your gut and just do it. And I know it's with, being a parent, and maybe somebody has another job. I mean, it's all hard. It's all hard no matter what, especially with kids. But I found, for me, especially in the very beginning, I was just so excited about it that it had become it was just my creative outlet, and I was getting so much joy from it that it was worth the time that I was putting into it. I mean, of course, as time goes on, there are definitely hard parts, and it is still a business. But if you have that like little spark, just go for it, and fit it in when you can. And it's hard. It's going to be hard, to go around your kids' schedules, or childcare, your partner's schedule. But I would be like watching TV at night with my husband, and like be like working on a website and getting all excited about stuff, and just fitting it in when you can, and just go for it. And like we were saying earlier, it's done is better than perfect.
Yeah, so, so true. But I want to thank you so, so much, Holly, for being here. And where can we find you on Instagram?
On Instagram, I'm at retrophoto with an F, at retrophoto.co. And I'm that on all the things. So you can find me on Pinterest and TikTok and all that good stuff. So come find me, give me a follow, and see some pretty pictures.
Thank you so much for being a part of our podcast today. And I will put in the show notes all your information so they can click on there. And I really appreciate you for being so amazing and such a big
Awesome.
for me.
Thank you so much, Celeste. It's always good to see you.
Bye.
Bye.